We are live.
Yay! Happy week before Christmas. You got what, 5 days in the wake up? I am old new dude. He is,
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
and this is Sansa 6. And out of the last three chapters, this is probably the worst one in my
Yep.
book,
Right.
without a doubt.
We talked about that a little bit last time, right? This is the one where you really see the execution.
Yeah, with Arya, you don't get the response to the execution. She
Right.
doesn't see it. She's torn away. You got her hair being cut, so you don't
Right.
really get to feel the aftermath of the beheading. And that's all you get at the beginning of this chapter, and it's not fun to read.
Yeah. Yeah. I seriously consider not including that part, but I was like, no, it's kind of important.
Well, I put it off. I originally had planned on reading it Saturday, and I'm like, no, 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 I'll do it tomorrow. Then I was like, okay, I'll read it Sunday. I'm like, no, 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 I'll do it tomorrow. And so I read the chapter and finished 20 minutes before we
Yeah.
now.
I mean, it's a short chapter, so you can kind of get away with doing that, right?
Yeah, I usually don't like doing that. If I have to, it means I got a lot going on. I didn't have a lot going on. I just kept putting the chapter off just because
Yeah.
I knew what the chapter was.
Sure.
But well, if you watch any of these videos, you know that we start with the brains of the operation, Richard, and find out what he saw in the chapter. And I jump in with my stupid stuff every now and then. So take it away, Richard.
Thank you, sir. So in this chapter, Sansa remembers. In the tower room at the heart of Maegor's holdfast, Sansa gave herself to the darkness. So this reminds me of the very end of Arya's fourth chapter, perhaps the most intervention-heavy chapter, in which her footsteps sent soft echoes hurrying ahead of her as Arya plunged deeper into the darkness.
Yes, there's a lot of tiny hidden fingers in this chapter.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and there's some things in here that make me wonder if this wasn't a move that somebody tried to do and undo.
It has I mean,
We'll
in
get
the
there.
very second chat, or there's the very second chapter. I'll let you start reading.
Yep, yep. Waking or sleeping, she saw him, saw the gold cloaks fling him down, saw Sir Ilan striding forward, unsheathing ice from the scabbard on his back, saw the moment when she'd wanted to look away, she'd wanted to. Her legs had gone out from under her, and she had fallen to her knees, yet somehow she could not turn her head, and all the people were screaming and shouting. Yeah, yes, Casey's doing his little hidden fingers gesture here. Um, sorry. All the people were screaming and shouting, and her prince had smiled at her. He'd smiled, and she felt safe, but only for a heartbeat until he said those words. And her father's legs, that was what she remembered, his legs, the way they jerked when Sir Ilan, when the sword. Perhaps I will die too, she told herself, and the thought did not seem so terrible to her. If she flung herself from the window, she could put an end to her suffering. And in the years to come, the singers would write songs of her grief. Her body would lie on the stones below, broken and innocent, shaming all those who had betrayed her. Sansa went so far as to cross the bedchamber and throw open the shutters. But then her courage left her, and she ran back to her bed sobbing. Yeah, and that could even be, we've talked about how people's motivations seem to sort of be beyond time, and so this could have been the planting of her for later on in this chapter, right? Um,
Right. Um,
and we may have had and somebody may have then undone that move, either the same person or their opponent, um, with the Hound intervening potentially.
yeah. Which I get more into the hound part here in a little bit, but
Sure.
the third paragraph. Um, Sometimes her sleep was laden and dreamless, and she woke from it more tired than when she had closed her eyes. That unchemical, dreamless sleep that she was having, I think that was a connection being made there.
Could
Um,
be.
she needed that dreamless sleep just to get through to survive all those days of seeing it over and over and over again. If she didn't have that dreamless sleep, um, I don't think she would have made it. I think it would have drove her crazy. So
And,
I think that's somebody that's building that connection, that's making sure that she gets that dreamless sleep, gets time away from. Because you see, remember, Ned down in the black cells, he didn't get that time away. It was either waking and dreaming, or it was all black. It was all in his head, um, which might have helped him go against what I think, and actually did do the speech the way he was supposed to, and gave in and made the deal, all that kind of stuff. Um, he didn't get that dreamless part. He didn't get that I need time away from my brain, and she got that at the beginning of this chapter. And I think that uh, I don't at this point in the story, she's not strong enough to go all those days without that break.
Yeah, yeah,
Later in the
could be
story, she's
necessary for her sanity, right? Yep.
right. Later in the story, she's definitely strong enough and would have been able to do all that without that dreamless sleep. So
Well,
I mean,
and I do think this somewhat moment of bravery is where I first see her as kind of evolving into the better character here, growing anyway. And
yeah, well,
so it also, of course, this also could be a sort of a callback to the way that Ashara supposedly killed herself, right? And for more on Ashara, see Triplet Targaryens episodes 1, 2, 4, and 7.
Lizzie's ears just perked up. Yeah, I didn't even remember that. But you also, I didn't even think of Ashar
Right.
with the tower and everything. But this is a jump that didn't happen.
Right.
So we're saying the jump that Ashar supposedly took was didn't happen either.
At least there's one.
Good morning, Lizzie, or afternoon, however it is, wherever you're at.
All right. So this is the serving girls tried to talk to her when they brought her meals, but she never answered them. So this is literally the opposite of Ariane, right?
Yeah.
And the princess in the tower trope is perhaps a reference to the famous princes in the tower, which would be the York bastards. See Triplet Targaryens episode 1.
Oh man, are you actually going out of your way trying to get these in here now, just for a joke?
Oh, somewhat.
Well, it has made the mood of talking about this chapter a little bit easier. That's for sure. Oh, somebody was like, "Man, the one of the 3 people that watch our videos, Valentine, he loves the fact that it's genuine and we really have a good time talking about this stuff." Thank you, Lizzie.
Two.
You're great again. Yeah, if I started doing that, my wife would kill me.
Once Grandmaster Pycelle came with a box of flasks and bottles to ask if she was ill. He felt her brow, made her undress, and touched her all over while her bedmaid held her down. When he left, he gave her a potion of honey, water, and herbs and told her to drink a swallow every night. She drank it all right then and went back to sleep. She dreamt the footsteps on the tower stair, an ominous scraping of leather on stone as a man climbed slowly toward her bedchamber, step by step. All she could do was huddle behind her door and listen, trembling as he came closer and closer. It was Sir Ellen Payne, she knew, coming for her with ice in his hand, coming to take her head. There was no place to run, no place to hide, no way to bar the door. Finally, the footsteps stopped, and she knew he was just outside, standing there silent with his dead eyes and his long, pocked face. That was when she realized she was naked. She crouched down, trying to cover herself with her hands, as her door began to swing open, creaking, the point of the greatsword poking through. She woke, murmuring, "Please, please, I'll be good, please don't," but there was no one to hear. So Pycelle creeping on little girls is bad, but Sansa seems actually more traumatized by Ned's death, the trauma of that.
Yeah. Also, might he have been checking to make sure that she was maiden?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it might not actually be. Although I don't know. It certainly could be that he really is just a creep. But
oh no, I think he's definitely a creep.
Yeah, but not necessarily just that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there was like a true purpose for him being there.
Yeah,
you got the potions, you got possibly checking to make sure she's still maiden, and even with the potion that he gave her, she still had dreams. Going back to the time when she doesn't have dreams.
Yeah, we're definitely all in agreement that he's a creep.
Yeah.
All right. I never promised to spare him, only that I'd be merciful, and I was. If he hadn't been your father, I would have had him torn or flayed, but I gave him a clean death. Sansa stared at him, seeing him for the first time. He was wearing a padded crimson doublet, patterned with lions, and a cloth of gold cape with a high collar that framed his face. She wondered how she could ever have thought him handsome. His lips were as soft and red as the worms you found after rain, and his eyes were vain and cruel. I hate you, she whispered. King Joffrey's face hardened. My mother tells me that it isn't fitting for a king should strike his wife. Oh, that a king, sorry. That a king should strike his wife. Samarin? The night was on her before she could think, yanking back her hand as she tried to shield her face and backhanding her across the ear with a gloved fist. Sansa did not remember falling, yet the next she knew she was sprawled on one knee amongst the rushes. Her head was ringing. Samarin Trant stood over her, with blood on the knuckles of his white silk glove. Will you obey now, or shall I have him chastise you again? Sansa's ear felt numb. She touched it. Her fingertips came away wet and red. I, as you command, my lord. Sansa is finally awake and aware.
Yeah. And I hate how she got brought back into that too.
And there's also a wormy looks like, but yeah, and the flame also is a called connection to Ramsay. Lizzie says wormy lips like Ramsay.
Yeah.
So there's also the connection with the flame there, I think too.
Later on, I don't know if you cover it in yours, but you get that basically Sir Meryn is dead inside. He's just
yeah, absolutely.
He's on autopilot.
Yep. The hot water made her think of Winterfell, and she took strength from that. I really think that starting in this chapter, she's a different character. We're really starting to see her grow and become aware and disillusioned and so forth.
Well, you got her and you got Dany both starting their story with a hot bath.
Yeah, that's good.
Basically,
I like that.
The journey that they're going on, kind of like cleansing away what they were, and then this is what we got to be going forth.
Yep. I shall do whatever his grace commands. As I do, he replied. Yes, but you are no true knight, Sir Meryn. Sandor Clegane would have laughed at that, Sansa knew. Other men might have cursed her, warned her to keep silent, even begged for her forgiveness. Sir Meryn Trant did none of these. Sir Meryn Trant simply did not care.
Yeah, you covered it.
Yep. She stood with her head bowed, fighting to hold back her tears, while below Joffrey sat on his iron throne and dispensed what it pleased him to call justice. Sansa has definitely been learning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to remember, even if none of this had ever happened and she was standing up there and her dad didn't get killed and Joffrey hadn't showed himself to be an ass, she's seen justice done by her father.
Right. She can recognize this isn't it.
Right. Even without all that other stuff, she knows what true justice looks like. And everybody else in this story just fails miserably in comparison with her father.
Yep. Sansa stared hard at his ugly face, remembering how he had thrown down her father for Sir Ilyn to behead, wishing she could hurt him, wishing that some hero would throw him down and cut off his head. But a voice inside her whispered, there are no heroes. And she remembered what Lord Peter had said to her, here in this very hall. Life is not a song, sweetling, he told her. You may learn that one day to your sorrow. In life, the monsters win, she told herself, and now it was the hound's voice she heard, a cold rasp, metal on stone. So save yourself some pain, girl, and give him what he wants. So I guess Jon is some hero, since he will, in fact, take Janis. She's talking about Janis. And he will behead him. Favorite line: "Throw him down, cut off his head." Yep.
Definitely awesome foreshadowing, and it definitely throws Jon in that hero spot.
Hero, says Lizzie. Yeah, and he might be supposed to parallel with the last hero from the Long Night potentially.
Right. Because the Azor Ahai and Last Hero are different people, correct?
I think they certainly might be, and probably are, given how many characters we have in this story.
Right.
And I think that I wonder if Jaime is supposed to be basically the last hero of Robert's Rebellion. Right. And if you think about if in fact Jon is going to betray Dany at the end, And maybe he won't because George may have changed his mind on some of these things for one thing. But
Yeah.
but it would make a lot of sense that the actual probably bastard uh, of Ares, right, stabbing him, and then the character known as the bastard of Winterfell potentially being the last hero of this final story potentially.
Right. I mean, yeah. Then you also have that, but the voice inside her whispered.
Yeah, yeah, it
That
does
I mean,
sound like intervention,
that's like serial Pharrell type moment.
right?
Um, it is there someone pointing this stuff out? Is there someone helping guide the little hidden fingers? I think anytime we have if it doesn't specifically say like she said to herself, or it's really ambiguous and it doesn't say
Right.
it's her thought, I generally think those as somebody else speaking to them. And you will how far are you from the end? Oh, you got a ways. um I think there's a lot going on in this chapters when you start to get to the end of this thing. So
Right, right. My name day will be here soon, Joffrey said as they slipped out the rear of the throne room. There will be a great feast and gifts. What are you going to give me? I had not thought, my lord. Your grace, he said sharply. You truly are a stupid girl, aren't you? My mother says so. This is this is so ridiculous, right? I mean, just
yeah,
the idea that this prisoner who has no ability to be getting anything is being asked to give a present to this king. It's so silly.
it's like, okay, I'll buy you a present to give to me type situation. I mean, what is she
Yeah,
going to
it's
give?
just it's quite ridiculous. Anyway, the
Very.
climb was something out of a nightmare. Every step was a struggle, as if she were pulling her feet out of ankle-deep mud, and there were more steps than she would have believed. 1,000 steps from horror waiting on the ramparts. So this, of course, reminds us of Sam and his one step and then another.
Yeah,
It
and that
still hurts her to
thousand, you
hear it.
got the green seers. What is that?
It still hurts her to hear it. My mother
Yeah,
says so. Yep. Yeah, it does. It does hurt.
yeah, that thousand though. You got the green seers. 1,000 out of 1,000 green or skin changers are green seer. So that
Right.
thousand just popped in my head with
That makes
with
sense.
green.
She turned that she turned that way and saw only the city, streets and alleys and hills and bottoms and more streets and more alleys and the stone of distant walls. Yet she knew that beyond them was open country, farms and fields and forests. And beyond that, north and north and north again stood Winterfell. What are you looking at? Joffrey said. This is what I wanted you to see right here. A thick stone parapet protected the outer edge of the rampart, reaching as high as Sansa's chin, with crenellations cut into it every 5 feet for archers. The heads were mounted between the crenels along the top of the wall, impaled on iron spikes so they faced out over the city. Sansa had noted them the moment she'd stepped out onto the onto the wall walk. But the river and the bustling streets and the setting sun were ever so much prettier. He can make me look at the heads, she told herself, but he can't make me see them. This one is your father, he said. This one here. Dog, turn around so she can see him. Sandor Clegane took the head by the hair and turned it. The severed head had been dipped in tar to preserve it longer. Sansa looked at it calmly, not seeing it at all. It did not really look like Lord Eddard, she thought. It did not even look real. How long do I have to look? Joffrey seemed disappointed. Do you want to see the rest? There was a long row of them. If it please your grace. Joffrey marched her down the wall walk, past a dozen more heads and 2 empty spikes. I'm saving those for my Uncle Stannis and my Uncle Renly, he explained. The other heads had been dead and mounted much longer than her father. Despite the tar, most were long past being recognizable. The king pointed to one and said, That's your scepter there. But Sansa could not even have told that it was a woman. Jaw had rotted off her face, and birds had eaten one ear and most of a cheek. Sansa had wondered what had happened to Septa Mordain, although she supposed she had known all along. Why'd you kill her? She asked. She was Godsworn. She was a traitor, Joffrey looked pouty. Somehow she was upsetting him. You haven't said what you mean to give me for my name day. Maybe I should give you something instead. Would you like that? If it please you, my lord, Sansa said. When he smiled, she knew he was mocking her. Your brother is a traitor too, you know. He turned Septa Mordain's head back around. I remember your brother from Winterfell. My dog called him the Lord of the Wooden Sword, didn't you, dog? Did I? The Hound replied. I don't recall. So Sansa's control is great in this chapter. I really do admire the way she's handling that part.
Right. Well, you got the opposite. You got Arya seeing things with
Yeah,
her
that's a good
journey,
one.
and then you got Sansa not seeing things.
Right,
Um,
right. I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
After my name day feast, I'm going to raise a host and kill your brother myself. That's what I'll give you, Lady Sansa, your brother's head. A kind of madness took over her then, and she heard herself say, maybe my brother will give me your head. Joffrey scowled. You must never mock me like that. A true wife does not mock her lord. Sir Meryn, teach her. This time the knight grasped her beneath the jaw and held her head still as he struck her. He hit her twice, left to right and harder right to left. Her lips split and blood ran down her chin to mingle with the salt of her tears. You shouldn't be crying all the time, Joffrey told her. You're more pretty when you smile and laugh. Sansa made herself smile, afraid that he would have Sir Meryn hit her again if she did not. But it was no good. The king still shook his head. Wipe off the blood. You're all messy. How dare she allow Joffrey to mess her up? How would Arya have
Why must
reacted to
you
this
be crying
situation?
all the time? Huh?
Why are you crying as I have you beaten?
Yeah. Uh, I know the actor that played Joffrey. People just hated the guy. It's like the character that played Draco Malfoy. I mean, he's the villain in the story. At this point, you're not supposed to like him, but the actor just got so much grief. He's like, okay, I'm done with acting. This is enough. He did an awesome job as Joffrey.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, granted, it wasn't the long curly hair and all that kind of stuff, but the actual essence of Joffrey, you see it I mean, granted, the first season he's new at the acting, and he only did like a little cameo in a Batman movie, as far as I know. But by season two, I mean, his Joffrey character, his acting was freaking awesome. As I mean, there's a lot of people give a lot of the actors in Game of Thrones a hard time about their acting, but I thought the dude did great as Joffrey. Uh,
I agree.
yeah, I hated him. That's why I know he did a good job.
Right,
Uh,
right. Lizzie asked, "How would Arya have reacted to this situation?" LOL. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's exactly that's what you're saying, right? Is that she's been trained to really see things, and Sansa's deliberately not seeing what she's looking at.
right, right. Arya would have seen her father's face and reacted very badly.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
that
And
that
of course
that's
the whole smile thing is very much reminiscent of lots of women's lived experience, right? With in terms of men constantly telling them that they need to smile when they have no reason to be smiling at them.
yeah.
Um, the outer parapet came up to her chin, but along the inner edge of the walk was nothing but a long plunge to the bailey 70 or 80 feet below. All it would take was a shove, she told herself. He was standing right there, smirking at her with those fat worm lips. You could do it, she told herself. You could. Do it right now. It wouldn't even matter if she went over with him. It wouldn't matter at all. Here, girl, Sandra Clegane knelt between her and Joffrey, the delicacy surprising in such a big man. He dabbed at the blood welling from her broken lip. The moment was gone. Sansa lowered her eyes. Thank you, she said when he was done. She was a good girl and always remembered her courtesies. Intervention potentially undone.
I think there's actually a lot going in this chapter between Sansa and Sandor. Um, is it Order of the Green Hand that throws in that Sandor's a skin changer with him and his horse, an
Uh,
unknown skin changer?
yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? I mean the whole
Right.
concept of identifying Lyanna is just that she's this great horsewoman, and he's clearly one of the best jousters, and so it
Right.
makes a lot of sense if he's
The horse, I think they were like they pointed out the horse knows where to go when he sleeps in the saddle. The horse still goes where it's supposed to go. The horse
yeah.
loves Sander.
Some of the language from the elder brother kind of implies that that the horse has his personality as well, right? That they're
Yeah,
kind of the
exactly.
same.
That hates everybody but Sandor. But as Sandor eases when it comes to Arya, then the horse eases with Arya. So I think there's a lot going on in this chapter. You got where's that? Sansa could almost hear the rest of it. He'll have you up there no matter what. So give him what he wants. Um, is it? I mean, are they sharing a thought? Is that what he's thinking in his head at that moment, and she picks up on it? Um,
Ah, I like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
a bit of a link.
yeah,
Uh,
I like that.
Yeah.
So Liz says the only other person to have contact with a stranger is Arya, and only because she grooms them or something.
Well, the first time she tried to groom him, the horse actually the first time tried to steal him, the horse tried to bite her or something like that. But yeah, you see it in the story that as the hound, not to the point where he likes her or that he treats her like he did Sansa, but he eases up on her. And there's like you can run if you want type situation. You see the difference with the horse too. I mean, Order of Greenhand, I know it's got to be them, but their chapter is just one thing after the other that points to Sandor being a skin changer. And then they'd also pointed to his older brother, Gregor, because he gets those high tempered, high testosterone horses, and he's that same way too. But that's a beautiful dog.
I wish I could make you see his eyes because his eyes are brown on top.
Mm-hmm.
They're blue, but they're brown on the very top.
I can't see it on my phone, but I will. I'll check it out on the rewatch.
Anyway.
We're talking about Sander the Hound, and the dog comes up.
Yep. He's been sitting here kind of nudging me.
Yeah.
So up next is the triple Shakespeare Danny chapter. So the very last three. Oh, this is Lizzie. The very last three paragraphs of this next chapter all put Danny as a Shakespearean tragic figure. Even I caught one of them when I first read it.
I definitely watched for that. But jumping back on that Sander thing, you said triple, and I was almost like 3. When you said triple Shakespeare, and she was like, "Oh, triple."
No, this is really a reference to either Shakes of Thrones or another one of your hosts from Girls Gone Canon, Eliana, and her Many Face blog.
Yeah, but she heard triple and her ears.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
The triple Shakespeare thing is like triplet Targaryens.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, I never noticed any kind of maybe potential little mind stuff going on between Sander and Sansa.
Yeah.
Not to get too far out in the weeds, but as the story goes with them two, I'm going to look for it more. And then definitely with the Arya chapters with him.
Nailed it.
There you go. But it's like I said, there's a lot going on in this chapter for being a George R. R. Martin definitely writes not necessarily horror, but dark. His pacing when it comes to dark stuff is just really, really on point. That gets you at the edge of your seat or puts your hair standing up, or his writings get a reaction out of you page after page.
Well, we do have in terms of triplet Targaryens. I don't know.
There you go. I can see it. I got on my Sasquatch shirt, so my wife likes me in pink for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, that was a sad chapter. Anything you excited happening for you the weekend?
No, not terribly.
Okay.
Why, anything with you?
Yeah, same here. Nothing went on. I did make it to book club Friday night. The headset that I was using, it always picked up some background noise, so I tried to do work on it and broke the damn thing.
Oh, bummer.
So, yeah, no, I missed out.
Lizzie's laughing at us.
Of course. Anything good go on with you, Lizzie? She might have tight. But yeah, what do you think about the Sander thing?
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thought, and it sure seems like there's some sort of connection there.
Right. I mean, like with the Serial Pharrell and Arya, we get the is it her own dog made a bird friend? Is that a
bird friend? Uh-oh.
Bird friend.
Bird survive?
Yeah, that's what you're ready to ask. Is it have you made it friend or food? Birds are friend. It's not food.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I definitely my old dog, my last dog that my most recently passed dog was um, definitely not very friendly with birds in a sense. It's the cutest thing you'll see ever. Check my Twitter. Oh wow, we're gonna have to check this out.
Yeah. I mean, make a note.
I made a bird friend.
Since
Yeah,
the whole
oh,
Elon
check my
Musk,
Twitter. It's the cutest thing you'll see ever. All right, we'll have to do that.
I do the announcements on Twitter for these episodes, and then I'll jump on for about 10 minutes a day, maybe. But I don't know what to make of the Elon Musk and some of the stuff that's going on with Twitter.
I can see if I can get the last third head of the dire wolf in here.
There you go. Is that the oldest one?
Yeah, she's a little over 12 and 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing all right.
The
Hear me out.
wow,
I'm just gonna hold this.
that's fine. It's like, what are you doing? This ain't a treat.
Oh,
Yeah, I
she
can't
went
bring
back
up.
right down.
I got a lady is a my dog. My 7-year-old says it's his dog, but she is a Rottweiler and a Australian Shepherd mix.
Oh, nice. So these two are the one that isn't the ones that aren't an old golden girl are Aussie half brothers.
Okay. The she is 8 years old and she still thinks she's 5 months old. She's like 70 pounds and thinks she weighs 10 pounds because she's just, I mean, just giant lap dog. It's freaking hilarious. And no matter what we try, we can't get her to stop jumping on us. And it's been 8 years trying. So
Oh
we
wow.
finally we gave up. It was just one of those things like
Yeah.
that's her. I mean,
Yep.
she knows how to sit, she knows how to shake, all that stuff. She's as smart as a whip, but she just does not want to not jump on you. That's just her thing. So,
Yeah.
but I'll try to get some pictures on the Twitter of her if she'll sit still. But were you on for Wednesday?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we're gonna be able to do Friday also.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
All right. Well, that was the sad chapter of Sansa 6, Game of Thrones, and the next will be Danny. You know what? Oh, Daenerys 9. There you go. I dread the fact that we're getting to the end of it, but of this book. But I look forward to what is it, The Clash of Kings? That's a really really good book.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this book it always have a place in my heart, but it's a lot of setup, and then you get to the with the Ned from Ned getting his head chopped off on. It's all right. Now we're getting into the story. Now you know where everybody is and what they do and all that stuff and what they're for. Now we can get down to the
Yeah.
nitty gritty, and the adventure
Well,
really starts.
and it's deliberately having Tyrion as an echo of Ned, right? And so you're supposed to look back and say, oh, this is the part where he climbs down the secret passage to go to the brothel
Yeah,
to see his lover. Oh, okay. I mean, it's really is designed to say, Tyrion is an echo of Ned.
yeah. What do you think about the was it Ayaya? Ayaya, the girl that's in the room that he goes down the little tower or the little shaft.
Yeah.
There are those that think, and I think it's Order Greenhand pointed out again, that she is quite possibly the daughter of um, Tywin.
Could be.
He was
Yeah.
he was the hand that had that shaft.
Right. No, I get that. I get that. That seems likely. Yeah.
So and they're laughing at it because if we're right, then you got Cersei and Jaime as Aerys' children. So Tyrion or Tywin's only blood relative as far as children goes is the dwarf that he treats like a bastard and a whore that is definitely
who is a bastard. Yeah.
Right. So all right. Well, Danny 9 on Wednesday. Thank you, Lizzie, for joining us. We appreciate it.
See you guys on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely see you on Wednesday. We'll do a short, quick out. I have been Old New Dude. He has been
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
after 73 or 74 of these things. I still don't know how to end them, so we're working on it. But we'll see y'all Wednesday. Be good.
Sounds good. See you.
Bye.